Hey, I don't know about you, but one of my favorite styles of pizza is a classic New York pizza. Thinner but sturdy, flavorful crust with wonderful quality toppings. It's classic, it's beautiful, and I'm gonna give you my mind-blowing New York style pizza recipe right now. Roll the intro. Hi there, and welcome back to Eat the World. I'm Chef Alex Lazik. Now, I've been a chef for over 25 years. I've owned a bakery, a brewery, I've owned restaurants, I've even worked for the British royal family, and I've been making pizza since I was 16 years old. I've even done consulting for a European pizza franchise. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. So today, we're going to tackle one of my favorite kinds of pizza. New York pizza. Now, where do I begin? How long is a piece of string? It seems if you Google New York pizza, you'll get 1,000 different images with slightly or even wildly different kinds of looking pizza. New Yorkers will have their own favorite kind of pizza that they'll get from their own local pizzeria. I've seen some New York pizzas that have got a big puffy crust or cornicione. I've seen some where it barely exists at all. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what is New York pizza. I have in my mind my favorite style of New York pizza, and that's what I'm going to do here today. I like a nice thin crust with a moderate cornicione and a good sauce that's flavorful and rich with good quality toppings. But whatever toppings you put on it, the base of this amazing pizza is the crust. But the key to this amazing crust is a dough made with high protein and high gluten flour so you can stretch it out thin. New Yorkers swear that it's the water in New York that makes all the difference. Now, I've read a few studies on this, and it's true that New York water has its own unique level of magnesium and calcium, which does help improve dough. Now, while there is truth in this, I wonder if this is something that cannot be compensated for in the flour composition itself. Anyways, the studies that I've read that have gone so far as to make pizzas using New York water and without, and having double-blind taste tests, found that there was no discernible difference. But hey, people swear by it, and if there's one thing that I've learned is, once somebody believes something, it's hard for them to have their minds changed. So, you like what you like and you know what you know, and that's just how things are. Now, the other reason I've read that something that makes New York pizzas unique and signature is that, and please bear with me, and I'll quote this, New York pizza uses deck ovens that cook extremely high temperatures and are often decades old. The idea is that, like a good cast iron skillet, the oven absorbs the decades worth of cheese and sauce vapor into its walls and then imparts it into the new pizzas that are cooked. What a load of old shit. Like, seriously, are you telling me that stainless steel or some other kind of steel that doesn't require seasoning like a cast iron pan and doesn't come into contact with the food itself absorbs these flavors and gives off an essence that elevates the flavor of a pizza that's cooked with it? Well, I'm really sorry, but I'm gonna need to roll my eyes at this one. That's just insanity. Now, I love telling a story, but this kind of pseudoscience, romantic food storytelling gets on my nerves. Anyways, back to New York pizza. This dough is spectacular. Strong, but not too tough, and it is super flavorful. Now, this comes from my method and my recipe that has my secret ingredient in it, which takes this and makes it a truly spectacularly flavored dough. And I think this dough recipe, seriously, is superior to any New York pizza dough recipe that I've tried. Trust me, you could take this recipe and open a pizzeria with it tomorrow and you would do really, really well. This is a sound, fantastic dough. So stay tuned and see what I've got up my sleeve. Now, before we begin, as always, please like, subscribe, and do all those wonderful things that help me get noticed in the YouTube algorithms, and so this video can be shown to more people. I would really, really appreciate that. And also something new, go and check out my Patreon page. I've got exclusive content for my patrons, and there'll be a lot more coming up shortly. A couple of dollars could really help me support this channel and help keep it growing. So please, I would really appreciate that. Okay, let's get started. Here we go, team. Salt, sugar, water, rehydrated yeast, oil, and my secret ingredient, which I'm going to reveal right now. Okay guys, so this is my secret ingredient. This is brewing malt. Now I've got a rye malt right here, but you can use any other kind of liquid malt, or you can use a dry malt if you prefer, but I find this works a lot better in my opinion, and that's why I use it. I use this in my bagels as well. So you can actually make beer with this. It's an unhopped brewing malt. So you can get this in lots of different forms. You can get this practically anywhere. This makes a huge difference in the flavor and depth of flavor and texture of the dough. So top secret, if you don't have it, don't use it, but this makes a huge difference, and trust me on that one. So step one, we're going to autolyse our dough, which basically means we're going to mix through our water into our dough and let it sit for at least 20 minutes. What this does is start to develop our gluten structure, and it's an important first step. So this is a rough first mix. We just want most of the flour and water to be incorporated. I'm using a stand mixer because, well, I have one, and it's a great tool. If you're doing this by hand, just do your best to mix thoroughly, so once it is combined, cover it well so the dough doesn't dry out.
3 hours later.
Actually, it's just 20 minutes later. But once the autolyse is complete, then we're going to start to incorporate the rest of our ingredients. We can now add our sugar, salt, and then little by little we're going to add our rehydrated yeast. You hear me go on about this all the time in my videos, but please always rehydrate your yeast, always. It really builds a consistent dough and allows the yeast to incorporate and work its magic much quicker. Next, it's time to add our malt. It's pretty sticky, so it's often good to rinse the spoon or bowl with a little oil first. Once that's well incorporated, add your oil and continue mixing. When your dough is looking smooth and sexy, oh you'll know, stop the mixer and give it a stretch. You want to give it a pull and see if you've developed enough structure for the window pane test. Basically, you want to stretch it thin enough to see if you can see through it and it doesn't tear. Once it's done, turn it out onto your board and give it a few folds. Then use your hands to pull it towards you to help shape that dough ball and build some tension on the surface. Okay, at this point you want to let it rest at room temperature until almost doubled, and then place it in the fridge covered overnight. The next day, about 3 hours before you're ready to make pizza, pull the dough out of the fridge and divide it into balls for your pizza. I'd say about 250 to 300 grams for a 12-inch pizza and 650 to 750 for an 18-inch pizza. Once you've divided the dough, let's reshape our balls and get them ready for our perfect pizzas. Again, there are a lot of ways to do this, but I like to fold it over a few times and using the pulling method to create that tension on the surface. Finally, I use my hands to pinch close the bottom of the ball, rest at room temperature for a few hours until the dough is nice and warm and relaxed and rising again. Now let's make some pizza. So let's start with our 12-inch wood-burning pizza. Cover well in flour and use your own preferred method to open up and prepare the dough. Now remember, if you're used to Napolitana dough, this one is a lower hydration and you can be a bit rougher with it. This is the kind of tossing in the air kind of dough. It's strong and pliable and you can get it pretty thin. Have a watch of how I do mine, and when it's ready, on a lightly dusted peel it goes. So first the sauce. I use my all-purpose sauce recipe, which I will link below, which is fantastic. Then it's cheese time. I absolutely love this mozzarella. It has a great flavor, but choose something with a lower moisture content. Let's give this a nice even coating and then onto the pepperoni. Make sure you use a good quality pepperoni. A New York pizza in my mind uses this kind and size of pepperoni. And then into the oven it goes. Every oven is different, but consider a lower temperature with a longer cook time, with turns every 30 seconds or so. This is slightly thicker than a Napolitana pizza, so keep that in mind. Lower heat, lots of churning, longer cook time, and after 2 to 3 minutes, our wood-fired New York pizza is ready. And here we go, guys. Here is my perfect New York style pepperoni pizza. I'm super chuffed with this. It is absolutely wonderful. It came out as perfect as I could get it. And that dough is nice and soft and crunchy and crispy. And look, I'm gonna cut into it and we're gonna have a taste and see what we think. Look at this pizza. That crust is so beautiful. It's got a nice and firm, crispy base. So we're gonna give this a taste test now and see what we think. Okay, so let's give it a try.
Oh, I don't eat on camera.
That's exactly how it's better than any New York pizza I've ever had, honestly. That crust is perfect. I'm super happy with this, but when I think of New York pizza, definitely this style, but I think of the great big ones where you get a nice big slice of it. So we're gonna make that right now. So to make our legendary 18-inch New York pizza in our home oven, we need our 18-inch pizza screen. You can pick these up on Amazon, but trust me, this will give you a pretty authentic and awesome result in your home oven if it's big enough. You may need to try a 16-inch, but measure before you buy. So let's grab our large dough ball and again, cover generously in flour and open it up gently and methodically, just like we would our smaller one. Now when it comes to the home oven, turn that oven up as high as it will go and let it get hot for about an hour. I'm going to cook this pizza at about 550 degrees Fahrenheit without a pizza stone, and it will give us a fantastic result. But by all means, use a stone if you have one that big. Every oven is different, so work with what works for you. The molten sugar, apart from adding a depth of flavor and sweetness, will help add color to our pizza, which can be helpful in a home oven. Make sure you spray your screen with a bit of oil spray so that the pizza doesn't stick. So same again, let's sauce this bad boy up and get some generous amounts of cheese and then start laying out our pepperoni. Take your time and make it look authentic. The other awesome thing about the screen is that it shapes your pizza perfectly. And we are ready, and in it goes. Keep an eye on it so you know if you need to move the pizza to a different shelf if it isn't cooking enough on the top but too much on the bottom. It's okay. We can monitor what is going on and adjust our technique where necessary. You got this, team. And it is cooking along just splendidly, and when the bottom is nice and brown and the top looks well done, let's take it out and have a look. Okay guys, here we go. Here is our masterpiece, our magnificent New York style pepperoni pizza. It's absolutely fantastic. It's exactly what I picture when I think of New York pizza. It is so perfect. I am stunned by this and how amazing it is. It smells exactly like New York pizza smells. The color is absolutely beautiful. It's exactly what you think. It's got these wonderful pepperoni cups. I'm gonna cut this up and we're gonna have a try. Oh, and it's like, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's nice and crispy. And just look at that. So let's get a nice big slice out of this. Again, it smells absolutely fantastic. If you haven't had a check of my all-purpose pizza sauce recipe, it's good for Napolitana pizza. It's good for this kind. It's perfect all-purpose pizza sauce. You should give it a try. But let's have a look at this slice. That is absolutely perfect and what I'd expect from a New York pizza. Nice and thin and crispy. You can see that right there. It's beautiful. Let's have a look on the underside of it. Absolutely great. Nice and crispy. Let's have a try. This pizza is New York pizza personified. Look at that crust. Look at that structure. The crispy base. The smell of it. Amazing pepperoni. Really good quality mozzarella. And an amazing sauce. Again, check out my recipe for the sauce. It is perfect. All right, let's give this a try.
Oh, I don't eat on camera.
New York pizza. perfectly foldable. Guys, seriously, you should try this recipe out. It is fantastic. New York pizza. This is a wrap, and I hope you've enjoyed watching this. Please, if you could, like, subscribe, do all those fantastic things. It really makes a big difference for me. And again, if you could, and if you feel this is worthwhile, and I think definitely this recipe is worthwhile, please head over to my Patreon page. A couple of dollars would make a huge difference to me, and I'd really appreciate it. And it really helps support my channel and helps me continue doing amazing work like this. So please, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. I'm gonna go eat some pizza. Damn, that's good pizza. What do you think? You happy with that? Cutie puppa. That fucking sucks. And the key to this dough is a nice, flavorful... And the key to this amazing dough is a very... And the key to this crust, and the key to this amazing crust is... What the fuck is it? What I have in my mind... Okay, that sucks.